You don't talk about it anymore, do you? The nights that felt like war zones, the mornings where you woke up already tired, not from sleep, but from carrying the weight of pretending to be okay. You've changed, but no one really knows why. They just say, "You're different now." Colder, quieter, less forgiving. They don't see what happened in between. The parts that broke you, reshaped you, and forced you to grow armor just to survive. Let's go back for a second. You learned early that love isn't always safe. That sometimes the people who say they love you are the same ones who make you feel small. So you adapted. You became what psychology calls hypervigilant, always scanning the room, always guessing what version of someone you'd get that day. You learned to read tones before words, faces before feelings, because it was safer that way. And when love felt unpredictable, you became predictable, calm, quiet, careful. That's how your nervous system survived. Now you call it peace. But sometimes that peace is just emotional numbness, a defense mechanism built to keep pain out. You stopped arguing, not because you don't care, but because you learned arguments lead to explosions. You stopped trusting easily, not because you're cold, but because your brain remembers what it felt like to trust the wrong people. You stopped explaining yourself because no one ever really listened when it mattered. And now, when someone asks, "Why are you like this?" you smile, say, "I'm fine," and change the subject. What they don't understand is you didn't wake up one morning and decide to become distant. You evolved. You built walls because your boundaries were never respected. You became independent because no one showed up when you needed them. You became emotionally guarded because being open once meant being wounded. That's not weakness. That's adaptation. That's trauma intelligence. Your mind learning how to keep you alive in a world that hurt you. Psychology calls this parentification when it starts early, when a child becomes the caretaker, the emotional anchor, the one holding the chaos together. That child grows up fast, but never learns how to rest. So even now, as an adult, you still feel responsible for everyone's peace but your own. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. You shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You call it being nice. But deep down, it's survival conditioning. You've changed. Yes, but not because you wanted to, because you had to. You learned to stop chasing people who never stayed, to stop begging for closure from people who benefit from your confusion, to stop proving your worth to those too blind to see it. And in that silence, you met yourself for the first time. The real you, not the caretaker, not the pleaser, not the survivor, just you. That inner child still lives in you, the one who wanted to be seen, to be heard, to be held without judgment. And every time you choose calm over chaos, boundaries over guilt, healing over history, you're protecting that child. That's what shadow work really is. Not fighting your darkness, but understanding where it came from. Your triggers are not flaws. They're old wounds calling out for safety. You don't owe anyone the version of yourself that kept you alive. That version did its job. It got you here. But now, you can let it rest. You can allow softness without shame. You can allow love without fear. You can allow healing without apology. Because survival is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your rebirth. So if they say, "You've changed," smile softly. They don't know the nights you cried quietly so no one would hear. They don't know the battles you fought inside your own mind. They don't know what it cost to become this calm. You changed because chaos wasn't home anymore. Because peace, even if it's lonely, feels safer than pretending. And that's okay. You're not cold. You're healing. You're not broken. You're rebuilding. If this spoke to something deep inside you, if you felt seen, if you felt understood, don't just scroll away. Take a second, breathe, hit subscribe. Not for me, but for you. Because every week, we go deeper into the mind, into the parts of you that no one ever asked about, but you've always wanted to understand. And if this felt real to you, you'll love the next one. It's about what happens when you've been strong for too long, and what it quietly does to your heart. Next, people who've been hurt too many times often act like this but won't admit it. Subscribe, because understanding your mind is how you protect your heart.